So the big question every home buyer has is, what do we offer on this house? And I'm going to give you some tips and pointers and things to think about. The first two issues have to do with knowledge and leverage. Two key important points when thinking about putting together an offer. A knowledge is just the information that you have at hand. And leverage is the amount of power that you can exert in the negotiations. So firstly, you always want to attain as much knowledge as you possibly can. Most importantly, you want to get knowledge about the seller and then secondarily about the house itself. Listing agents are, well, they're not always their clients' best friends. Listing agents, in an effort to be friendly, in an effort to try to move a property, may oftentimes tell you things that they have no business talking about. If you can find out that the seller's already bought another house, or if they've got some other thing going on in their life, that kind of information can be incredibly helpful. Think about a house that I know of in the South County right now that's been on the market for a little while. Knowledge piece number one. Number two, I know that they've bought another house. Knowledge point number two. Number three is that they recently took a loan out on the house that they're trying to sell to buy the next house. Now imagine you as a buyer having that information. That's incredibly helpful. On the other hand, you want to make sure you limit the amount of knowledge that the other side has. The worst thing you could possibly do is let a listing agent know or let a seller know that you've been actively looking at houses for a year, you've lost a couple of houses, and their particular house might just be the dream house. Don't give them that kind of knowledge. Now, on the other hand, is leverage. Sometimes you can use the knowledge that you've gained as a leverage in the negotiations. And if you have that as an opportunity, that's fantastic. But other times, you won't have any knowledge whatsoever other than the house and some comparable sales. So what do you do then? Now, tip number one when thinking about your offer is to evaluate yourself. You have to put yourself in the seller's shoes and critically evaluate you as a buyer. You know, for a seller, the ideal buyer is an all-cash, no contingency, 10-day close. That's the perfect buyer. It's easy to imagine the listing agent advising the seller, this is the buyer you want, take this offer. Now, if you're not that buyer, you need to take a look at all the various moving parts of your offer and make them as strong as possible. What's your deposit going to be? If you need financing, how far along in the process are you? Have you just had a casual conversation with the lender, or have you obtained full-on conditional loan approval? How long of an inspection contingency period do you need? Do you really need the full 17 days to look at the house, or can you get your ducks in a row and get in and out of there in 5, 6, 7, 8 days? Lastly, how long do you need to close escrow? Can you close escrow in 20 days, 25 days? Or for some reason, do you need 45 or 60 days? Is your offer contingent upon selling another property? All of those things you need to critically evaluate yourself to honestly assess whether you're as strong of a buyer as you as a seller would like. And anything that isn't strong, change it. Number two, evaluate the property. Definitely do some due diligence. Before writing an offer, you need to have a really good idea on what's been happening in the past in the marketplace by looking at the closed sales. You also need to know where the market is right now for that property, and that's by looking at active and pending sales. Sales that are in escrow but haven't yet closed give you a very good idea of where the market is today. And then lastly, of course, look at the competition. Are there other houses that are similar to this one on the marketplace, or is it totally unique? All of those things will help bring you to a point to figure out what you want to write for an offer. And then number three, write the offer. I always advise my clients, write your offer at whatever number you want. My job as your representative isn't to tell you the price that you want to pay for the house. My job as your representative is to get the seller to accept the price that you've offered. Now, of course, you need to take items number one, you yourself as a buyer, and number two, the marketplace for the property into account. But the bottom line is, this is your offer and you're telling the seller how much you want to pay for the house. Another thing really important about this, don't have any conversations with the seller or the seller's representative ahead of time. Don't have your agent call and throw up some sort of trial balloon. Well, would you be willing to negotiate? Will you take this or take that? The only place to have a discussion about price or to have a negotiation about price is when there's an offer on the table and a commitment at hand. It reminds me, my son recently was trying to sell his motorcycle, right? So he put the price in, he did it on Craigslist and a couple of other motorcycle sites. And he started getting incoming phone calls right away. And he was asking me how he should respond to those phone calls. You know, Dad, they're asking me if I'll take a lower price, or they're asking me if I'm willing to negotiate. And I just said, well, of course they are, but don't give them any of that. The phone is to be used to set an appointment. In the appointment is when you actually have the conversation about price. So when you do write that offer at the price that you want to write, the seller has three options. He's either going to accept your offer, or he's going to counter your offer, or he's going to ignore it. Now, this is a really important thing to think about. You never, ever have any idea what's really going on behind the scenes, right? And it will take your offer to maybe uncover what's happening. You may write an offer that I might sit there and think that it's a crazy number, that it's way below the comps, that if it were me, I wouldn't write that offer. But again, I'm not writing the offer, you are. I'm just a representative. But the seller, he may have something completely different in mind. He may have already decided, you know what, the next offer we get, because the last one fell apart, we're taking it. You just don't know. So when you write that offer, it shouldn't be accompanied with any discussion about comps or the neighborhood or any kind of intended negotiation. Write the offer, slide it across the table or however it's delivered, and then let them respond. Now, if they counter it, at that point you have a conversation about comps to justify the number that you came up with or to justify yourself as a really good buyer, the kind of buyer that they want. But don't discuss any terms or anything like that until you get a counter. Now, if you don't get a counter, if they come back and they just say, you know what, we're not going to dignify this with a response or something like that, that just means you need to try again. Write another offer. So I hope this helps you figure out what your offer price should be. Briefly, it should be whatever it is that you want to pay for the house. But make sure that you're prepared to demonstrate that you're the kind of buyer that they would love to have in the first place. Now, there are other strategies that can be employed, and I'd love to talk to you about those as well. Please get a hold of me by calling me at 949-413-2371. You can email me, michael@hausamgroup.com, or right here above my head, there should be a little button, a little eye with a circle around it. You click that thing and that'll take you to my website. I'd be happy to sit down with you, show you the system that I use and the strategies that I employ for my buyers, and help you buy the house of your dreams at the right price. Thank you so much and have a great day.